Howdy. Welcome to part 2 of the Finnish Copper might have its origin on Venus or in the interaction of them both. We have now A3 anomalous eyes. I just wanted to start off with this because it was somehow the easiest way to start off, because I have to set up all the things first on my phone in order to, anyway. Let's just have a quick listen once again. We won't listen the whole, but just let's have a listen.
This is Electric Universe Eyes, and today I'm going to narrate The Great Comet Venus by David Talbot, 1997, section titled The Great Comet. In seeking out the general patterns of the Mesoamerican Venus as serpent dragon, we cannot fail to observe that our listed
Serpent dragon. So, in my earlier video, I said about the Venus might be the source for the copper and sulfur here. So the sulfur we have here in Finland might not be volcanic in origin at all. Because volcanoes, or let's say like this, volcanoes, they bring stuff from deep below up to the surface. But if something is coming from the heavens down to the surface, it's the complete opposite of a volcano. Of course, electrical discharge events can create volcanoes, and many of those volcanoes are created electrically. But we are now talking about something a little bit different. So now, the serpent dragon, Venus. And we are back at my paper. On the left, we have the aeromagnetic map of Eastern Finland. This we watched in the earlier video. There might be very well petrified wood at the plasma rock site. Here are some stones, but you can rock formations. At the site, the plasma rock site here, let's just go over these. We want to go on to this one. We start here with a quick reading. The place Kuhasalo has, besides the craters, petrified wood and molten metal, also some other interesting features. There was a monastery close to the plasma rock site, a burial ground, a possible petroglyph-like stone carving, and an old abandoned copper mine. No one knows what the petroglyph-like stone carving means. Yeah, I tried to find some answers, I couldn't, so they don't know. Who did it, when it got made, or for what purpose? They have no idea. Absolutely nothing. I asked a history teacher from the University of Eastern Finland. I think one of those figures of the carving could represent Venus, according to ancient tales and interpretations brought forward by David Talbot, F. Cochrane, and others. Eduardo Cardona should have been mentioned here as well. On the left, we have a screenshot from one of the Thunderbolts videos, maybe signs of an alien sky. Archetype Serpent of Creation. And here on the right, we have this very interesting stone carving. It is a stone carving. Stone carvings, they can been made yesterday. It's still a stone carving. And I think it could represent Venus. There's another here. And I think another one here. And maybe there has been once also something here. I don't know. And one fine day I have to go there with the compass and check it out, how these lines are aligned, if they are aligned to any directions. Specific directions, I mean. So, we are still at the plasma rock site. And now, after having this, we had the surface conductivity anomaly. We had the copper mines also in Outokumpu and at the plasma rock site Kuhasalo officially. So, Venus, serpent, dragon. Let's see. Let's just start here. Let's just start at the beginning. Let's make a quick read through. Finnish history and mythology. History of Finnish mythology. Finnish mythology is a mix of Baltic, Swedish, and Lapland cultures. Many symbols used still today are based on really old, stylized, simplified, and adapted in order to fit into modern culture. The symbolism, yet forgotten over time, remains the same. People don't know why the owl, swan, bear, or the lion are an important part of their culture. No one knows, for example, why there is a lion in the Finnish coat of arms. The history of Finnish mythology is also mixed up through several somewhat recent changes in rulership. First the Swedes, then the Russians, again the Swedes, and again the Russians, only to be founded as an independent nation in the year 1918. It would be no surprise that every ruling government in the past did its very best to destroy people's own culture, belief systems, knowledge, culture, folklore, and identity, in order to prevent the possibility of remembering, like Christians or Romans and many others before and after them. There is anyway a huge influence from the Baltic region culture-wise. The reason might be simple. The large ice sheet simply prevented people from living elsewhere, and some passages were blocked by the ice too. So the connection northwards could have been much more difficult to make than south or southeastwards. The Baltic people probably lived probably in very different environment, in a different environment than it's today. The sea might have been much shallower, and the shoreline was in different places. Maybe they had even some trading with the Doggerland people. Yes, you heard right, a lion. No, there aren't any lions in Finland, at least not in wilderness, but still Finnish people identify themselves with a lion. Yet the Finnish lion is to be found everywhere. Coat of arms, many national institutions use it in their logo. The national ice hockey team is simply called the Lions. T-shirts, bracelets, and all kinds of other things are sold with a lion on it. If one starts to search for the origin of the Finnish lion, he will notice rather quickly that the origin is a mystery. Even the Finnish Ministry of the Interior states on its page, little is known about the origin of the Finnish coat of arms. How is it possible that a country has so many rules about a flag they don't even know where it's from or what it is about in the first place? The coat of arms kind of gives those serving under it authority. How much authority and authenticity it really has when no one knows what it represents. There has been at least 500 years' time to figure out what it means, but no one did. Yeah, that paper is about that. I did it. The earliest sign mentioning of the Finnish lion is in a church in Uppsala, Sweden. If you trace the lion further back in time, you will come around in Siebengebirge, Germany. There we'll find a lion castle and even a dragon castle. Yeah, the dragon castle is in my mountain water paper. The Swedish Empire has reached quite far into Middle Europe some centuries ago, so it is not too far-fetched to think that the lion came from the Swedes and the Swedes got the lion from the Middle European people. The reason I think it's like this is that other population groups which lived in Scandinavia used mainly dragons as their symbols instead of lions. I'm talking about the Vikings and their cultural style. They had a very different style than Middle Europeans. Their relationship to dragons was important. Dragons are known worldwide, but are at the same time a mystery to most people. It is common for folks to think dragons are just fantasy creatures and go into the same category as unicorns, griffins, phoenix birds. Yes, and they're all different variations of a dragon. Andrew Hall has very nice and coherent explanations for what a dragon really is. It is basically a weather event which includes wind, lightning, and all things related, such as earthquakes, volcanism, and strong electromagnetic fields. Rivers are paths where dragons once roamed through the ground. Water flows into the direction where the dragon came from. Why? Because when such a massive discharge event happens, the lightning arc follows the path of least resistance and on the path of most conduction. As the arc travels over the landscape, it decreases in power. It is a discharge event after all. Keep this in your mind, because it is a very important fact to understand. Through the decreasing of power of the path of the discharge, riverbed gets shallower over the distance it travels, so the water flows downhill. It might be that the Finnish landscape is so full with craters because of the high metal content in the ground, and the arc got stuck every now and then where there was a big amount of material which reacts easily to electromagnetism, such as metals. So, the Siebengebirge in Germany is situated at the river Rhine. If you follow the river upstream and take a look at the castle cities and their history, you will come across many dragons. Even in Switzerland are many castles which have something to do with dragons. For example, Schloss Lenzburg. Schloss Lenzburg. When I have been at school in Switzerland, we had to make some presentation about a castle. And if you are growing up in a certain environment, like for me it was Switzerland, you have castles everywhere. You don't give about them anymore because they're just like it's, a part of your environment. You don't really care. There are so many. There's like on every hilltop is something. And where I lived, there were so many Roman, or are still so many Roman ruins, small amphitheaters, thermal baths, and all kinds of things. And I have been very interested in those, but somehow I also didn't get any further. But anyway, in school we had to make a presentation about a castle, and I just picked a really random one, which was Schloss Lenzburg. And I think I made a video about this. And I don't know when this has been. 90s? 80s probably? Yeah, maybe more in the 80s, I think. Late 80s. So it's like many years ago. The story about the Schloss Lenzburg goes, Castle Lenzburg goes something like this. There was a cave, and there was a dragon in the cave. And then some brave knight went there and killed the dragon, and in order to honor the knight, or was it two knights? Maybe there were two. But in honor for the killing of the dragon, they built a castle on top of the mountain. Some years later, 10 or something, probably not that much, I went to school in Lenzburg, which is a city. And I have been sitting there every Thursday, Thursday, Thunderbolts, Thunder God. Every Thursday, for about 4 hours in the morning. I was sitting there, and the teacher was talking, and I was watching this castle and thinking, what's about that dragon? What's that dragon thing? And if you would go today, if you are in Switzerland, if you are in the vicinity of the castle, go around. If it's open, go there, and you can buy a very cute, this kind of soft toy dragon thing. It's their logo, it's their symbol, it's a dragon. And it took many years to understand what the whole thing is about this castle and about the dragon. But anyway, so we are here. So back to Finland. So the Swedes had contact with Germans, the Germans with Italians, and so forth. Cultural exchange also through warfare. Cultural exchange also through warfare. Finland has been under Swedish and Russian might. It is therefore no surprise that the origins of the lion roots in Middle Europe and the lion actually as a dragon. That's a really funny sentence. And the lion roots in the Middle Europe and the lion actually is a dragon. Yeah, it's maybe anyway. Take a look at the following picture. It is a lion or a dragon. It is the seal of Duke Valdemar used in Finland in the 13th century. You can find this on Wikipedia. If this is a lion, we are talking about this thing here. If this is a lion, I think it is a very sick lion. It should be brought to some doctor. You know? 13th century. And that is just basically it. An accident. I was trying to do something, and it made this kind of screenshot, and I just noticed it, how well they fit together. Habsburg is also in Switzerland, close where I live. In mysticism are many things associated with lions. Often it is a symbol of might and rulership, i.e. warrior. Through most of the times, Mars has been seen as the warrior god. The lion came quite likely from the south of Finland. Even though there would have lived once lions in Finland, it doesn't change the fact that, according to Immanuel Velikovsky, Mars had a very big influence on things which happened on Earth. For example, a possible massive electromagnetic discharge event between Mars and Earth. And the comet Venus, of course. A thunderbolt between planets. The biggest dragon of all, the lion, king of animals, symbol of might. So, the question is still that, what? Now we are talking about lions and dragons in Switzerland, but wait a second. Let's just go on. There are also tales in Finnish culture which tell about dragons. So we maybe wouldn't have needed to go to Middle Europe or to the far north in order to find a dragon which relates to Finnish history, culture and mythology. His name is Turso. The character is part of the Karelian and Finnish national epic Kalevala. Kalevala, as far as I know, has been a very great inspiration for The Lord of the Rings, or Hobbit, or all these. There's a dragon in these movies, remember? So anyway, here's an example of what is said about him in the Kalevala. This might be this kind of Oxford version of the Kalevala. But anyway, let's just go through that. From the ocean rose a giant mighty Tarsus, a tall and hardy, pressed compactly all the grasses that the maidens had been raking, when a fire within them kindles, and the flames shoot up to heaven. And the flames shoot up to heaven. There wasn't thunderbolts coming down, there were thunderbolts going up. Till the windows burned to ashes. Windows are made of silica. It needs very high temperatures in order to get it melt, and much more higher in order to get it evaporate. Only ashes now remaining of the grasses raked together. Oh man. This is again very long. But anyway, one should understand the nature of the dragon and the reason why they are known all over the world with slight differences in their behavior. A dragon is a weather event, electromagnetic discharge event, i.e. lightning, wind, etc. With this kept in mind, read the snippet of the story of Turso again. From the ocean rose a giant, mighty Tursas, tall and hardy. This could mean a tsunami of unbelievable proportions, which took everything with it. It is necessary also to remember that the Baltic region is topographically seen quite flat. There are a few deeper parts, but generally it's rather undeep. A tsunami would have caused widespread devastation. Yeah, now we go already into the topic of peat. But let's scroll uphill again to this map. Now we were reading about the serpent of creation, dragons, Venus. And how I think that Venus has some very strong connections to the copper here. So now, I'll try to end this quickly. Wikipedia planet symbols. The classical planets, their symbols, days, and most commonly associated planetary metals are Venus, Friday, copper. So now, Outokumpu, Finland. Here's the Vuonos mine. Pielisen betoni, Mondo Minerals, owned probably not by Finns, but anyway, there is still mining going on. And that's Outokumpu. Here's the old mine. Let me show you quickly. Old mine. The strange hill. And that's from the same place I took the pictures. Down here are the red rocks, and they're also on the other side. Now let's check it out. As you can see, it's the landscape. Can we scroll back a bit because there's this thing in the way? The landscape is rather flat. There's like a bump here, a bump here. So this hill where they're standing on sticks out like a sore thumb. But anyway, I still have to end this video. And I think you will be at least surprised. Now let's north is here. If we zoom in, or when we zoom in, wait a second, I have to orientate myself first. Yeah. Here it is. There is this road, whatever it's called. I don't know what the name is in English. Liikenneympyrä. Ein Kreisel. Let's go to full screen. What do you see here? It's the Venus sign. In the center of everything for everyone to see all the time. And I've been wondering about this sign and all that stuff, that how. But now I probably figured something out. So now I made 2 videos about this topic. Like the research is going on and let's see how it will develop. But I think that's very exciting. Thanks.